Hello everyone, welcome back to our Maya 20 tutorial series. Today we're going to work on creating some of these buckles for his coveralls. So to begin with, before we even start creating the buckles, I do want to create the buttons that these things are supposed to attach to. So let's go ahead and just drop a couple of those in. They'll be very simple objects. We're just going to use some cylinders. So we'll just drop one in. Okay, and we will rotate it, probably 90 degrees to start, but then we'll have to finesse it a little bit more than that. Scale it down a bit. Probably don't need this much geometry for buttons, so let's go over to the inputs here, and let's go ahead and take it from 20 down to, let's say, 16, maybe even 12. Yeah, 12 is going to work just fine. And we'll scale this down. Try and match to the curvature of his coveralls here. And I do think these are going to need a little bit more than what I currently have on here, just because I want the buckles to be able to go around these. So to do that, I'm going to go to face mode, turn off symmetry for now, and actually just isolate this as well. And what I want is I just want to extrude off the back side so that they'll have a little something on the back to grab onto. So if the buckle's moving around, you'll see that's not just a button floating on top of the buckle. Okay, so I'm just going to extrude. I'm going to start out by scaling this side here. Then I'll hit G to repeat last command, and I'll just pull out like so. This will just go straight into the geometry. This side here, I want to also make it a little bit more visually interesting by hitting extrude, and I'm going to scale this one in a little bit more, and then I'll hit G to repeat last command, and let's see here, maybe pull it out a bit, and let's bevel that. There we go. So we'll take that and we'll move it out like so, and that should be good. All right, so now let's take a look at the buckles. Let's go to our orthographic views here. Just kind of zoom in. So they don't give us a ton of information is what this looks like, so we're going to freehand it a bit. But I kind of know already what I want to do here. These are, I'm going to create a latch bit here, and then I'm going to just basically create a square that has a bridge between two different sides, and there'll just be a gap in the middle of the straps we'll be able to go through. So I'll just go ahead and dive in. You guys can follow along. Since this part here, this second piece, is essentially going to be a duplicate, we can use that same thing up here. So we're going to do a latch piece that's going to grab onto here. So I'll start out by creating a cube. Most all my things I like to do start out with a cube. Okay, so I'm going to isolate this guy here. I'm just going to scale it down like so. I'm going to have this extrude forward. Now, does this actually work as far as latching on? You could make it to where there's a hole on the inside here that makes it to where it latches on. Is it necessary? Not really. But we could make it work that way. Okay, so let's also, before I go through and bevel this, let's just do an insert edge loop. We're going to put in a double. I'll put it right down the center here. And I'm going to bevel these two sides. Let's give it an extra segment so it's a little more round. Okay, so that's good. If we were wanting to create to where it looks like the buckle can actually go in here, you might want to go and bring this down a little bit more. And then add an extra edge loop. This part here is completely optional. You guys don't have to do this if you don't want to. If you wanted to make it to where this part here simply just goes right through it, that would probably make more sense than trying to punch a hole through it. But if you're wanting to go that route, I'll just show you what you would do. that. But what you would do is just delete these two. And you probably want there to be an extra piece of geometry, and then what you can do is just select both sides here and bridge straight across, and it will just fill in. So that's one way you can do it. Like I said, I'm just going to leave it to where it's blank and the thing just punches straight through. It'll look like it's a much more snug fit than something I can model easily. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more visual interest to this thing by just extruding these guys up. These ones out a little further. Okay, let's go back to our scene and take a look at our reference image. Okay, looks like I want to do scale these away from the center a little bit, so maybe I can and the reason why is this is supposed to have the bar that runs through it, right? So let's see here, I'll just extrude these out a little bit more. And then I'll extrude this bit out. And I'll pull this one forward. Okay. And let's go ahead and soften some of this up by just beveling these edges. That's probably good. Okay, let's go ahead and shrink this down. Fit it on there a little bit more. Okay, so that's probably more appropriate to size. Match the orientation of the strap here. And then this guy here just needs to be positioned to where it's latched on there a little bit better. Like the end here needs to come back just or come out a little wider. So this here, I'm just going to scale this apart. Okay, let's see if that looks better. Let's rotate it a little bit. Okay, so that's looking okay. Now I just need to create this hook bit that's supposed to attach to the strap. So to do that, we're going to drop in another cube. We'll go ahead and isolate this one. This one will be a much easier one to make, so we're just going to drag it out like so. I'm going to go to my Insert Edge Loop tool, turn on multiple edge loops, drop into, hit R for scale, and scale these ones apart like so. And I'm going to just duplicate this guy, bring it up here, something about like that. Select both of them, combine them, then I will bridge straight across. So we'll select this one, shift select this one, select that one, shift select the bottom one, and run a bridge. Oh, I have to do it one at a time. It got confused. There we go. Do the same thing over here. Bridge it. There we go. So now I'm just going to bevel okay, probably not quite that much. I mean, I kind of like where that was going, but these need to be a little bit wider if we're going to be doing that. So I'm just going to pull it out a little bit more. There we go. Now we can bevel it. So we're just going to we'll just do the full thing at the same time. One operation. Not doing these sideways ones. Be careful not to do those. That will create some problems if you do these in between edges. Alright, so let's go ahead and bevel. Okay, so that's alright. Let's go ahead and add in some segments. Oh, looks like I missed one. It's like, why is that weird? Okay. Do that bevel again. Alright. Okay, so that should be good. Might be a little bit too much geometry. If this is going to a game, you probably want to reduce that down a bit more. But that will work for now. Okay, let's go ahead and bring this in and fit it. So R for scale. And this just takes some finessing. Just gotta get it to where it fits. So that works. Now I just need another one that's going to be up here, so I'll just duplicate this guy. Move it up here. Make sure we're matching curvature, maybe scale it in just a bit. There we go, that looks good. Let's see if there's some on the back. I don't see any in the back. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now I just got to mirror all these parts I just made over. So I'm just going to select each one, and I'll just group them. So Control G. I'll duplicate them, Control D, and then I'll put a -1 to scale X. That should flip them over into the opposing area and position them perfectly. All right, so his buckles are in place. That's looking pretty good. I'm happy about that. In the next lesson, we're going to start working on his last couple accessories here. So we'll see. We'll probably start with this one, and then we'll just keep moving over to this one, do his little cord and his mitt last. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next lesson.